Page 8, When the Saints Go Marching In. This is the first piece in the page. Prior to this, they're just reviewing level 1 stuff. Have fun with that. If you have any questions, you're free to ask. Otherwise, I'm not going to cover it. I covered all that stuff in book 1. I want to talk about this piece. We're in 4/4 time. They have some words up above about pickup beats and upbeats and all that. Good luck making sense out of that. The point is, in 4/4 time, every measure's got to have 4 counts in it, and the first measure only has 3. And so they take the last, usually they take the last measure of the piece and they just split it. So if you look at the last measure of the piece, it's got 1 count in it. Well, if you take the 3 at the beginning and 1 at the end and you put them together, we got 4 counts, and everybody's happy again, all right? The point is, we're coming in on beat 2, not beat 1. So, right hand first, thumb is on the G, put you in this position. We're doing this 5-finger scale thing, just these fingers, notes, these here. And it coming on beat 2, 2, 3, 4, 1. You need to know the names of all the notes in the music, so if you have to, go back and review them. Just play the note and say the name. G, B, C, D, and forget the rhythm, just play the note and say the name. Make sure you can do that. As far as the names of the keys on the keyboard, that should be second nature to you. If you don't know the names of the keys on the keyboard, please go do book 1. You're getting too far ahead of yourself. So, again, with rhythm, 2, 3, 4, 1. You're going to hold that down for 4 counts, and then you have a rest on beat 1 of the next measure. Rest, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's go down to the second line. The last 2 measures are half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I wish they'd stop giving you the finger numbers, because what you do is you read finger numbers rather than notes, because it's easier. That's what I did when I was starting, so I figure everybody's going to do it. It might be better to just cross out the finger numbers. The only finger number you need in this piece is the one at the beginning for the very first note. Now put your hand in this position. You're staying in this position. You should be able to read the notes, know which keys your fingers are on, and just play it. And do it without looking at the keyboard. This piece, you should be able to just keep your eye on the music. May not at first, but get to the where you can do that. Let's go down to the last line on page 9. You have the half notes first. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And then these chords. Not sure what the chord is. Spell it out. Start with the bottom note and figure it out, and just take each note up. So the bottom note is a G, and then a B, and then a D. It's a G chord. Here. Put your hand in that position and you drop the hand. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and that's just a quarter note now. Don't hang on to it. Left hand, you got these chords at the beginning, these G chords. It's a G, a B, and a D. It's a G chord. I gave you the answers to the questions. Oopsie. So when the left hand plays in that measure, it's rest, 2, 3, 4, 1. Rest, 3, 4, rest. Pretty much it. Let's go to the top of page 9. Here, we have a C sharp. So rather than C, just go up and play C sharp. So that measure, rest, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then a whole note, it's a chord. Again, lower the whole hand. Try and get all the notes down at the same time. I don't do that very well, but you try it. Next line, when it plays, it's 1, 2, 3. So you got a half rest for the first 2 beats, so you don't play to beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that's a C natural there. There's no sharp sign. And then the next line, a G chord. And then that's a C and a D together. You play them at the same time. There isn't room to stack them, so they have to make them off center a little bit. But they're touching, they're together, play them together. Put the hands together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. See, I'm going to hold that down as I play these. 3, 4, 1. Then in the next measure, when I play the last chord, this comes up because it's going to rest in the music. So again, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. Like so. You go through and work out the whole piece, hands together, count it out carefully. What I do is I do it one hand at a time to make sure I can do it okay, and they're counting, and then I put the hands together. If you're hesitating anywhere, then work on that spot and get rid of the hesitation. Don't go on until you can play it without hesitations. Then we can go back and we can add the articulation. The articulation are the slurs and the staccatos and accents and things like that. You have slur at the beginning, connect the notes. Connect them as best you can, and then the staccatos over the little dot staccato thingies, you play them short. A nice light wrist action here on this. And what it is, let's say this is the keys, and my hand is on the keys. I'm going to push down and bounce off each time. Here, you don't have to come way off. It's just. Now, a fast piece, you don't have time to do that. You have to do this, and that's a little harder, but it's better if you can learn to put the hands on the keys and push down and bounce off. Here, so it's. So follow the slurs and the staccatos throughout the whole thing. Let's go over to page 9, the last line. Both hands are slurred here. We'll start with the last measure, the next to the last line. You see those 2 quarter notes at the end of the line? Let's start there, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, those are staccato, and the last note has an accent on it. So you play a little oomph, give it a little extra oomph. Boom. Now there's a little trickiness going on in the rhythm there on page 9 in the 3rd line. Let's go over that carefully. It's the last 2 measures of the line. The right hand you have the whole note, and the left hand you got quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that last chord, the right hand has a rest. You got to come up. So when you play the last chord, the 4th chord there, the right hand is resting. Then the left hand has a rest on beat 2. Well, the right hand's already resting, so both hands are resting on beat 2. Nobody's playing there. So those 2 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, rest. Then you come in together. So there's 1 beat there in the middle of the measure where nothing's happening, either hand. Yeah. And that's the articulation. Then add the dynamics. Well, it's moderately loud, the MF at the beginning, that's the melody. Everything else has to be down a little bit. You'll have to decide what moderately loud is. It's sort of loud. I'd play the left hand about moderately soft. I don't want the left hand the same. No, keep it down a little bit. I want to hear that D all the time I'm playing these. So I got to keep them soft enough so I can hear the D. And over on page 9, the same thing. I'd play the right hand moderately loud and the left hand moderately soft if you can. Some people struggle with that. It takes time to gain that kind of control. And you want to play both hands the same, and if that's where you are, then fine, but keep working at it. Try and learn to play one hand louder than the other. A little bit. We need to have that control. So at the top of page 9, you're here, moderately loud, and then moderately soft. See the idea? Now real briefly, because it gets tricky on page 9 in the 2nd line, let's just cover that carefully in both hands. It's here and then staccatos. Nice light wrist staccato. And then you're going to hold that down for the rest of the measure as you play this. And then lift it up when you play the C here. And then lift that up right before you play the... So that line is 1, 2. 1, 2. Get the idea? Now, speed-wise, it says brightly. You find all kinds of recordings. It's a happy march. 2, 3, 4. You'll have to make it yours. You don't play it that fast at first. You learn it first and then you gradually speed it up. But eventually it needs to go about that fast, I think. I like to play it very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do the dynamics. Go ahead and play it with me to make sure you're playing the same notes I'm playing at the same time. I'll give us 5 counts because we come in on beat 2. So I'll give us a full 4 counts plus 1. That's 5 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. There's a duet part for this, the teacher's part at the bottom. I'd like to play that, and you can play what you just played, but we're going to speed this up quite a bit. So let's try it together. Again, I'll give us 5 counts. Now the duet part doesn't play on your first 3 beats. When you do this, the duet part doesn't have anything. So I'll go ahead and play those notes with you, and then I'll do the duet part. When you get to the whole note, then I'll do that. So I'll give us 5 counts, and we'll start. Now in order to make this work right, I'm going to need you to go up an octave on the keyboard. So just pretend middle C is an octave higher up here, and you play the whole thing up here. Because the duet part's using these notes, and it'll sound better if you're up here. So go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, go.